Is that a screenshot? Is that written policy? Is that signatures? Is there assurances? What is evidence, or what is a piece of evidence?
Evidence can take all sorts of shapes and forms, but it has to prove your continued performance of that practice for whatever that practice may be. For some of the NIST 800-171 practices, some acceptable evidence in many cases is a screen share of an administrator showing us the configuration of their IT system. I know we've done that a number of times, like, hey, show us where multi-factor authentication is required for all of your users. Then, they crack open whatever IT system they have, walk us through the configuration. We validate, maybe do some spot checks with a couple of the users. All right, hey, go ahead and log into the system. I want to see it prompt you for that multi-factor authentication. And then once we get sufficient enough evidence for that particular practice, whatever it might be, then we're comfortable, assigning meds. We make notes. There's a template that we have to follow as per the DoD's requirements for conducting assessments. And then the organization getting assessed is required to retain all the artifacts and any tangible evidence from the assessment for a certain amount of time as per the DoD requirements. It's several years. But different practices can be demonstrated via different evidence. For example, practices that are related to training requirements, oftentimes kind of like even internal to the DoD, you need to prove that you did the training. You have your little certificate of completion.
Right.
That's good proof. You have a certificate of completion in addition to an affirmation by the end user that they completed their training. That's good proof, For some of them, it gets a little bit more complex than that. But for many of the technically implemented ones, either some incredible documentation from whatever IT system service provider that they're using, or a screen share or a live demo or a test for the assessors. Those are the types of evidence that we're going to be looking for. But organizations do need to be prepared to provide evidence for every single one of the practices. Because we have this, we actually had it happen recently where an organization was like, okay, no, I'm doing all the practices. Look, here's my policy and my system security plan saying how I'm doing all the practices and nothing else. No, look, it says I'm doing the practices. And, the team of assessors, we were like, we need more than just the policies, Just downloaded that from the internet, doesn't mean that, doesn't prove you're doing anything. That's one of the mistakes that's commonly being made. And I think, organizations will learn more that evidence is required.
So when I think of a C3 PAO, that's sort of like taking a test. That's pencils down. So I can't explain, I'm going to study the POA&M is probably not good enough evidence. It needs to actually show I did what was on the POA&M and we're actually practicing that. Is that accurate?
During the official assessment, in some ways, it is an open book test. You can't go and generate new things or make changes during the assessment. Like, oh no, we didn't do that practice. Let me go do it real quick. That's not a valid route. Unfortunately, we're looking for METs for not METs. We're looking for evidence of continued performance. And so if you can't provide those items, then you're probably not ready for the assessment. For many organizations, we like to even over provide evidence to the assessment team. Sometimes we often just give them more than they actually need or require, just to be on the safe side and to make sure that they're very comfortable going into the assessment that it's gonna most likely have a positive outcome.
As a lead CMMC certified assessor, you've had a peek at the test, or it's not a secret what the checklist is, but the perspective of an inspector, what they're going to look for. So a client or a customer selecting DefenseX with someone with your certification, it's a wise choice. You're at the top tier of what an MSP provider can do.
And if you're a contractor out there and you're trying to figure out this whole CMMC requirement, the different components of the law, what all you have to do, whether that practice is being adequately met by your organization, give us a call and schedule a free consultation. We'll talk to you. We'll walk through the requirements of your organization with you. Potentially, if we're a good fit for one another, it'd be an honor for us to help you in your CMMC journey and get you CMMC level 2 compliant and certified, whenever you're ready for that assessment. We'd love to have that conversation with you.